Well, the world's biggest song contest kicks off today in Vienna, but this year's edition of Eurovision is more tense than usual. Spain, the Netherlands, Ireland, Slovenia, and Iceland are all boycotting the competition. They say Israel should be banned for its bombardment of Gaza following the October 7th Hamas attacks. Journalist Daniel Rosny joins me live now from Vienna with more on all of this. So Daniel, thank you for joining us. Hoping you can give us a sense of what's happening where you are right now.
So, for those that don't know, the Eurovision Song Contest is a competition between broadcasters, members of the European Broadcasting Union, which is a community of public service broadcasters. Now, those 5 broadcasters have withdrawn because they say, as you said, as you were introducing me, because of Israel's actions in Gaza. Now, the officials here, they insist that Eurovision is a contest between broadcasters and not one between governments. So those withdrawals were announced in December. So this year, 35 nations are participating here in Vienna. But over the past couple of years, we have seen protests in Malmö in Sweden in 2024, last year in Basel in Switzerland. And here this evening, we are expecting some protests because this evening is the first semi-final of this competition. 160 million watch around the world, and Israel will be performing this evening. So those that are unhappy at Israel's inclusion in the contest are expected to demonstrate in some parts of Austria's capital today.
And Daniel, who is performing tonight? Take us through some of that.
So the ones to watch this evening, the big favourites are Finland, but actually the one that I think we should all keep an eye on is Moldova. Moldova is opening the show. Now, I have been very lucky to see the rehearsal, a final run-through of this evening's show. And this is the Finnish song that we're seeing right now. And Finland has been the bookie favourite to win this competition for a long time, but it's all depending on whether or not they convince those viewers around the world to vote for it. Another one that is worth looking out for this evening is Greece. Now, again, Greece is one that could be a shock win on Saturday. It has to qualify this evening. So the way it works is 10 songs from this evening will qualify to Saturday's final. On Thursday, there is a second knockout stage, and 10 countries from there will participate in Saturday's final as well. Now, this is the 70th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. And last year, minutes after the show was won by Austria, which is why we're here now, it was described as the Platinum Jubilee next year, meaning 2026. But those protesters outside could hamper those celebrations here this evening.
Okay, Daniel, thank you so much for taking us through all of that. We do appreciate it. Journalist Daniel Rosny for us in Vienna. Well, for a closer look at the controversy and the boycotts of this year's competition, we've reached Dean Vuletic. He's also in Vienna. He's a historian of contemporary Europe and also the author of Post-War Europe and the Eurovision Song Contest. So, Dean, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for making some time for us.
Thank you for having me, Hillary.
So we just had Daniel set some of this controversy up for us there. It is not the first time that this Eurovision contest has seen controversy or has even seen boycotts. How does this compare?
Well, there have been boycotts in Eurovision since 1969 when the Austrian national broadcaster boycotted Eurovision when it was staged in Spain under Franco's dictatorship. Now, this boycott is unique. The current boycott is unique in the history of Eurovision because it is the largest boycott ever. 5 national broadcasters are boycotting.
And like you say, so 5 national broadcasters there. What sort of impact does that end up having on this event?
Well, we're likely to see a fall in the viewership of Eurovision, I would say somewhere in between 5 to 10 million. I don't think we'll see much of an impact on the actual contest itself in Vienna. Tickets have sold out. There are lots of visitors already. The fans are still very keen on attending the contest. So we have to wait and see until after the contest what the impact on the visitor number is, on the viewership number is, what the exact numbers are. But for now, the most likely impact is a reduction in the actual viewing numbers.
It might be helpful here, Dean, just for a Canadian audience. Certainly the popularity of Eurovision is growing, but not as popular as it is in Europe and elsewhere around the world. What is it about this contest that is such a big deal for millions of people around the world?
Well, first of all, it's a long tradition that's been going on for 70 editions now, 71 years, because one of the editions was cancelled in 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it has been uniting Europeans for a very long time now. It has been one of the most popular television shows on the continent and certainly one of its biggest cultural events. It's also been a showcase of cultural diversity because countries compete against each other in Eurovision. They use Eurovision as an opportunity to share something about their national cultures with such a huge audience. And in the end, the voting makes it very exciting. This is Europe's largest election, and actually since 2023, when people all around the world have been allowed to vote in Eurovision, it's become the world's largest election, and that makes it an exciting experiment in our public democracy. And you can't vote for your own country in Eurovision. That's the time when we all become European, because we have to think about other European nations and cultures.
So since this is such a beloved event then, as you just laid out for us there, do you think there's anything in particular that Eurovision should do to try to make sure that there aren't these controversies or boycotts every year, or do you think that that is perhaps inevitable? Like you say, this has been going on for almost as long as this competition has existed.
I think it's inevitable because Eurovision always reflects the political zeitgeist of the time. It has always done that since 1956, the very first contest, and it's weathered many crises, many controversies. Very often the rules have been changed to assuage the concerns of members. So I think that we'll see the same result this year, that Eurovision will survive this boycott. It will continue, and we'll see what this contest actually brings, whether there will be another voting controversy, whether the organizers will have to respond to that with new rules or amendments to the rules. It's wait and see until this contest is over. Last year, there was a nail-biting finish with Austria and Israel vying for top place. Everyone held their breath in the arena at the thought of, Israel having to host the contest the subsequent year. So we'll have to see whether the finish is as filled with tension this year as it was last year.
Okay, and then just finally here, Dean, what about that? What you were just sort of teeing up there. Do you anticipate that this is going to impact the scoring at all?
Well, that's what we have to wait and see. Eurovision has changed its rules to bring back more of the expert jury vote, so into the semi-finals. Now we have the jury vote back, determining 50% of the final result. In the past couple of years, it's the public that has determined the entire vote for the semi-finals. In the grand final, we'll continue to see 50-50 jury and public voting. The bookies have Israel ranked in the top 10, but not in the top 5. So we'll have to wait and see what the final vote for Israel will be. That will be interpreted as a political barometer for the opinion of Europeans on Israel.
Dean, great to talk with you today. Thank you so much for taking us through all of this. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.